You could do 100 sit-ups every single day for a year and still never see a hint of a six-pack. In fact, for many people, that specific routine is actually one of the fastest ways to sabotage the very goal they're trying to achieve. That's the hard truth about your gym routine. In this video, I'm going to break down why sit-ups are failing you, what your abs actually need to grow, and the one invisible factor that dictates whether you'll ever see your six-pack. Stick around to the end, because I'm sharing the specific body fat percentage you actually need to hit to see results. If you scroll away now, you're going to keep wasting months on a routine that, biologically speaking, is doing almost nothing for your physique. Why do we cling to the sit-up myth? It feels like logic. If your leg is weak, you squat. If your chest is weak, you press. So, if your stomach is soft, you should crunch, right? It seems so obvious. But there is a massive biological disconnect here that most people ignore. We are going to shift your focus from mindless movement to actual metabolism. Think about your body like a car. Your abs are the engine. The body fat covering them? That's like a thick, heavy garage door that's been slammed shut. You can rev that engine until it screams. You can do thousands of reps, but if that garage door is closed, no one is ever going to see the car. You're just wasting gas. Does that make sense? If you've been grinding out crunches for weeks without seeing a change, drop a yep in the comments so I know I'm not the only one who fell for it. The rectus abdominis, that's the scientific name for the six-pack muscle, is just a muscle. It's not magic. It doesn't respond to high-repetition misery any differently than your biceps or your quads do. If you want a bicep to grow, you don't pick up a 2-pound weight and do it 500 times until you can't move. You pick up something heavy, you move it with control, and you create mechanical tension. Your abs are exactly the same. They are a skeletal muscle. They respond to progressive overload. When you do 100 sit-ups, you aren't building muscle. You're basically doing cardio for your core. You're teaching your abs how to endure, not how to grow. And why is that a problem? Because endurance work doesn't create the structural thickness required for those deep, defined lines everyone wants. But wait, if sit-ups don't work, why do they still show them in every fitness magazine and infomercial? The answer is more cynical than you think. It's easy to sell a 10-minute AB shredder program. It's hard to sell the truth, that you can't spot reduce fat. This is the biggest lie in the fitness industry. The idea that you can burn fat off your stomach by working the muscles underneath it is a total myth. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research looked at exactly this. They took a group of people and had them focus exclusively on abdominal exercises. They measured their fat composition before and after. The result? The muscles underneath got stronger, but the body fat percentage stayed exactly the same. Your body doesn't work like a microwave where you can just heat up one specific area. When you lose fat, your body pulls it from where it wants to pull it, usually based on your genetics, your hormones, and your overall calorie balance. You cannot choose where you get lean. You just have to get lean everywhere. Now, before we get into the exact math of how to actually get ripped, there's a massive mistake most people make right here. They think that because they're working out, they can eat whatever they want. But this is where the energy balance law comes in. It's the master key to visibility. If you're eating more energy than your body burns in a day, you will not lose fat. It doesn't matter if you do 1,000 sit-ups. It doesn't matter if you drink green juice or sleep in a sauna. Your body is a calculator. If the input is higher than the output, the extra energy gets stored as fat. And for most people, that fat is stored right over their midsection. Think about the marathon runner paradox. You've seen these guys. They have incredible cardiovascular endurance. They run for 3 hours straight. They are lean, they are fast, and they work harder than almost anyone in the gym. But do they all have a shredded six-pack? Not necessarily. Many of them have a very flat stomach, but they don't have that blocky, defined look. Why? Because they aren't training their abs for size. They're training for endurance. Now, compare that to a guy who lifts heavy compound movements like squats and deadlifts. He might not do a single crunch. But because he's moving heavy loads, his core is constantly braced, constantly under massive tension, and he's forced to grow. He's building the engine, not just the endurance. But hold on. This next part changes everything. There is a hidden danger in that 100 sit-up mindset that most people never talk about. The posture trap. When you do hundreds of crunches, especially with poor form, what are you actually doing? You're often overactivating your hip flexors. You've got these muscles called the psoas. They connect your spine to your legs. When you do a sit-up, if you don't engage your core perfectly, the psoas takes over. If you do this every day, you end up with what's called anterior pelvic tilt. Your pelvis tips forward, your lower back gets tight, and your stomach actually pushes out. It creates a distended look. So not only are you not burning the fat, you're literally training your body to hold your stomach in a way that makes it look bigger. You're doing the exact opposite of what you want. If this is hitting you right now, especially if you've been working hard but seeing zero progress, smash that like button. It helps me keep making these no-fluff explainers. We need to talk about the boring, honest truth. Nutrition. If 80% of a six-pack is made in the kitchen, why do we spend 80% of our time in the gym doing crunches? It's because we want a magic pill. We want the exercise to be the fix. But the fix is actually just a caloric deficit. To see your abs, you generally need to hit a certain body fat percentage. For men, that's usually around 10 to 12%. For women, it's about 16 to 18%. If you're sitting at 20 or 25% body fat, no amount of ab work will make your six-pack pop. It's physically impossible. You're asking for a marble sculpture that's buried under a pile of blankets. You don't need a better ab exercise. You need to remove the blankets. Let's look at the gym bro comparison. Guy A does 500 crunches every single day. He eats a standard diet. He has great endurance, but he carries a layer of stubborn fat over his midsection. His abs are strong, but they're invisible. Guy B does heavy compound lifts 3 times a week. He doesn't do a single dedicated ab exercise, but he monitors his protein intake, he stays in a slight caloric deficit, and he gets his body fat down to 11%. Who has the better six-pack? Guy B. Every single time. It isn't even a contest. The difference isn't the work done on the floor. It's the work done with the fork. So, how do you actually train your abs if you want them to look like they belong on a statue? You treat them like any other muscle. You use resistance. Instead of 100 crunches, do heavy cable crunches where you can actually add weight. Do hanging leg raises, but keep the control perfect. Make it hard enough that you can only do 10 to 15 reps. That is how you build muscle density. That's how you get that thick, defined look once the fat is gone. And what happens next? You stop chasing the burn, that burning feeling you get after 50 crunches. That's just metabolic waste buildup. It's not an indicator of growth. It's just an indicator that you're tiring out the muscle. It's like running until your lungs burn. It's hard, but it doesn't mean you're getting faster. We have to stop equating difficulty with effectiveness. Just because it hurts doesn't mean it's working. We're about to wrap up with the exact roadmap to fix this, so if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now so you don't miss the next deep dive. This is the part where you take control of your routine. First, stop the high-volume crunching. It's a waste of your lumbar spine and a waste of your time. Second, start tracking your intake. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be honest. If you aren't losing weight, you aren't in a deficit. It's that simple. Third, start doing compound lifts. Squats, deadlifts, and overhead presses engage your core more than a sit-up ever could because your abs have to stabilize your entire body against a heavy load. That's the secret. That's the invisible work. You're trying to build a trophy. You don't build a trophy by scrubbing it. You build it by casting it in iron. Your abs are already there. You've had them since you were a kid. They're just waiting for you to stop hiding them behind a layer of excess energy storage. The 100 sit-up trap is a cycle of frustration. It's a way to feel like you're doing something while actually standing perfectly still. It's time to stop the cycle. If you want the look, you stop training for the burn and you start training for leanness. It's less about the movement and more about the metabolism. It's less about the gym floor and more about the dinner plate. The best ab exercise is often just a fork and a heavy squat rack. Your abs are already there. They're just waiting for you to stop hiding them. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what works. It's time to stop the madness of the high repetition grind and start living in the reality of body composition. You've got the engine. Now go open the garage door. Think about the time you've spent on the floor, counting reps in your head, waiting for that six-pack to appear. That time is gone. But the future? That's entirely in your hands. You now know that the burn is a lie. You know that the psoas is a trap. You know that the kitchen is the real gym. You don't need a new program. You just need to change your perspective on what really builds a physique. It's not about the quantity of your movement. It's about the quality of your lifestyle. It's easy to get distracted by flashy workouts and internet challenges. They promise quick fixes. They promise that you can shortcut biology. But biology doesn't care about your impatience. It only cares about the math. It cares about your energy balance. It cares about the mechanical tension you put on your muscles. If you treat your body with the respect that science demands, it will reward you with the results you're looking for. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. And when those lines finally start to show, it won't be because you did a million crunches. It will be because you finally stopped lying to yourself about how the body actually works. So, next time you're at the gym, walk past the floor mats, go to the squat rack, pick up something heavy, then go home and make sure your protein is high and your intake is controlled. That is the path. That is the reality. And honestly, it's a much more effective way to spend your time. You'll feel stronger, you'll look better, and best of all, you'll finally be working with your body, not against it. The trap is closed. You're out. Now go build that engine. Your abs are already there. They're just waiting for you to stop hiding them. You see, the journey to a visible set of abs is not about finding the perfect ab-specific workout or buying the latest vibrating belt. It is about understanding the fundamental biological requirements of human physiology. When you strip away the marketing fluff and the gimmicks, you are left with simple, hard, and repeatable science. You have been told for years that the secret to a core is in the repetition. But repetition without intensity and without the proper nutritional foundation is just busy work. It is the equivalent of trying to fill a bucket that has a massive hole in the bottom. You can keep pouring water in as fast as you want, but you will never see the level rise until you patch the hole. In this case, the hole is a caloric surplus, and the water is your effort. Consider the anatomy of a professional athlete. Do they spend hours on the floor doing crunches? Rarely. They spend their time training for performance, speed, and power. Their abs are a byproduct of their lifestyle and their training intensity. They are constantly bracing, twisting, and stabilizing against external forces. Their midsections are thick and functional because they have to be. When you focus on performance, the aesthetics usually follow. It is a natural consequence of being a healthy, active, and well-nourished individual. Stop trying to force the aesthetics and start focusing on the performance. When you get stronger, when you lift heavier, and when you fuel your body with the right balance of macronutrients, your body will naturally gravitate toward a leaner, more muscular state. I know it sounds too simple. We are conditioned to believe that if something is hard to achieve, the process must be incredibly complex. But the most effective things in life are often the most basic. Consistency in the kitchen, intensity in the weight room, and patience with your own biology. These are the 3 pillars that will determine your success. You don't need a complex routine. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on supplements. You just need to be disciplined enough to stick to the fundamentals, even when you aren't seeing immediate results. The 100 sit-up crowd will always be there, looking for the next shortcut, the next challenge, and the next magic pill. But you're different now. You have the knowledge. You understand the invisible factors that truly matter. You know that the garage door needs to be open, and you know that the engine needs to be built with heavy mechanical stress. So take this information and apply it. Don't just watch this and move on to the next video. Change your approach. Change your mindset. And most importantly, change your results. Your abs are waiting. It's time to stop hiding them. Keep pushing, keep learning, and keep focusing on the things that actually move the needle. The results you want are right there, waiting for you to do the work that actually matters. You've got this. Now, go get to work.